and welcome to the Plant School podcast. I'm Rachel Tenney, and here we learn all about plants, how they work, how to care for them, and it's all taught in a way that anyone from beginner to expert can listen to, understand, and enjoy. So I hope that you will join me in Plant School. Hello and welcome to the Plant School podcast. As you can see, today is a rerun. It's a rerun of a really fun episode of the top 10 spooky houseplants because Halloween is coming up, and also just some real talk with you guys, some inside information on my life. Some of you already know this, but I am expecting a baby soon. And so if you notice an uptick in some reruns in the next few months or so, that is why. If any of you have ever had a new baby, it's a little bit of a hectic time, and I hope you guys understand that I'm just going to need a little bit more time at home while I kind of get used to a new normal with a new child. So before I play the rerun of today's episode, of course, I'm going to keep doing giveaways. I will keep recording those for every episode. So for those of you who aren't familiar with my giveaways, I choose someone who has commented on my latest episode on Spotify. You just scroll down while you're listening and there will be a section where you can comment. For today's episode, if you are listening right now, I just want to do something fun. Since Halloween is coming up, comment what you're dressing up for Halloween, just for fun. I know it's not plant related, or maybe it is plant related. Maybe you're dressing up as a plant. I don't know. But if you do that, then you are entered in to win the giveaway on the next episode, and I will be choosing someone that has commented. And then I also choose another winner from Apple Podcasts, someone who has left a review. I choose someone over there. So whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple, or maybe you do a little bit of both, you can enter in twice. It does not matter to me. You can have a chance to win, and what you are winning is a little package from Market Botany. The owner, Cameron Curry, has been so nice to sponsor this podcast and supply our giveaway winners with a bottle of Prop Drops, which is a water propagation aid, and then a bottle of Leaf Shine for your houseplants. Both products I love, and I think I say that every time. So let's quickly do today's winners before diving into our rerun episode. First up on Spotify, last episode was all about houseplant sitting, and I asked you guys what your experience has been with that, and our winner today is Dan, and this is what he wrote. He says, I do this over winter during my off season as a gardener. It helps me keep from the winter depression and keeps me going within the plant world and getting to see and learn about new plants. It also helps me meet new people and expand my business farther as I'm just starting out. I love that. What a great idea to get more into houseplant sitting during those winter months. But Dan, if that was you that left that comment, please email me at tennyplants@gmail.com, TENNEY. We'll get your address and I will send you that package from Market Botany. But thank you for everyone who's commented and who keep commenting. I love reading them. They are so much fun to read. So again, for all of you listening to this week's episode, comment what you're dressing up as for Halloween, just for fun, and you will be entered into the next giveaway on the next episode. All right, and over on Apple Podcasts, our winner is Draco12 Mofty. They said this podcast is so good for plant lovers. And then they did a bunch of heart emojis, and then they said do more. And I'm not sure if they're telling me like do more episodes or like do more be better. But it made me laugh. If that was you, Draco, who left that review, go ahead and email me at tinnyplants and I will send a giveaway package your way. All right, and with those giveaway winners announced, I hope you enjoyed today's rerun. I hope you can be patient with me as, like I said, I get used to this time of my life where I'm getting ready for a new baby coming in, and I hope that you will be back in 2 weeks for a new episode of the Plant School Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Plant School Podcast. To start, I have to tell you that I am just so excited for today's episode. So I was kind of going through and planning future episodes, and there were 2 that stuck out to me for October, and I've been sitting on them. It's probably been like over 6 months, and I've been just so excited for them. I'm not like a big Halloween girly or anything like that, but I've just been looking forward to these. But as you can see, we're going to be talking about the top 10 black houseplants or spooky houseplants for Halloween. So first, I kind of want us to learn something from this episode instead of just rambling through the top 10 plants that I found. So we're going to do a very tiny lesson on what determines a plant's leaf color. There are pigment molecules in the epidermis, or the outermost layer of leaves. And so the first one that we are probably all very familiar with is chlorophyll. It absorbs red and blue, it reflects green, and is the dominant color of most all plant life. And if a plant does happen to lose their color, lose their variegation, turn more pale, this is usually due to lack of chlorophyll. And what causes, this chlorophyll just to kind of disappear or deteriorate more accurately, it can be caused by lack of sun and lack of water. So if you want your plant to maintain its color, maintain its variegation, you need to give it good sunlight and keep a good watering schedule. This is going to be important for these black plants because if you don't give them that good sun and a consistent watering schedule, they can start to get a little bit lighter and start to go paler and not look very black. Another thing to note that can affect that green color is nitrogen and iron deficiencies can cause a plant to turn pale because nitrogen and iron both help produce that dark green leaf color. And so a lack of that from not doing regular fertilizing or refreshing the soil can cause plants to kind of turn pale as well. Besides chlorophyll, there's quite a few other pigment molecules that determines how a plant has color. There's carotenoids. That's another pigment found in the chromoplasts of a plant cell, and they absorb blue and green, and they can reflect yellow, orange, and red. This is what kind of gives the color to fall leaves when that chlorophyll, is leaving for the season, and you can start to see those carotenoids come through the yellow, orange, and red. Next, you have anthocyanins. Those are found in the vacuoles of plant cells, and they absorb all wavelengths except blue. This one is definitely not as common because blue is not a super common color in the plant world, but anthocyanins are the reason why a plant would be blue. And then there's beta-lactams, and they are a pigment also in the vacuoles of a plant cell. And they're responsible for giving some plants their color, such as giving beets their red or yellow color. So it's a little different than carotenoids are, though they can produce the sort of same colors that a carotenoid would. And the combination of all of these molecules are what give plants their colors, and they can change over time with season changes, like I mentioned, or with nutrient deficiencies, water deficiencies, etc. So keeping a plant in good health is what will help it maintain its color. All right, that is the end of that short little lesson. So let's get into my top 10 black/spooky houseplants. So number 1 is the Raven ZZ plant. It's like the classic ZZ plant, but it has these very dark green, almost black leaves. And what's wonderful, about the ZZ plant is that it comes with all the great things of being incredibly hardy and very forgiving, especially when it comes to underwatering. The ZZ plant is a champ. And I feel like ZZ plants by themselves are pretty dark, but the Raven ZZ is much darker. Number 2, we've got Peperomia caparata, burgundy ripple. And as I go through these plants, most of them have like a variety name. They've been bred to have these certain colors, and they will often get these kind of fun names to describe that color to customers. So this variety is burgundy ripple. This peperomia has these really dark purple leaves with these deep lobes. Also, Luna Gray is a very close version of this plant. So if peperomia burgundy ripple is not really showing up, you can look up Luna Gray, and it's pretty similar to that one. Also, all of these plants, as I was looking them up, they were all pretty fairly priced. I don't know how often you would find them in like a big box store such as like Home Depot or other hardware stores, but they are definitely available online. All right, number 3 is an Aeonium black rose. And this is a rosette style succulent. It has dark purple and black leaves, And if you keep it in a sunny area, it will stay the darkest. It can turn more purple and red if you don't give it as much sun as it needs. So still very pretty, but if you're wanting to maintain that very dark color, it's going to need full sun, being the succulent that it is. Number 4 is Alocasia Black Velvet. And actually, number 5 is another Alocasia, but we'll get there. So Alocasia Black Velvet, it has these very dark heart-shaped leaves. Alocasia poly is very similar looking. Again, it's just in case Black Velvet is out of stock or something. And then my other Alocasia I wanted to cover as number 5 was Alocasia caprea. And this one is a bit more rare, although I did look at prices and they were pretty reasonable, anywhere from like $25 to $80 depending on the size. But this one has these red-black leaves. It kind of has this like metallic shimmer. It's a very shiny leaf and they're very deeply ribbed. They've got kind of like a movement to them with those deep ribs. All right, I want to take a break before getting to the other ones. I may or may not have done more than 10. I just couldn't help myself. So those will be coming in just a moment after this break. All right, we're back and I want to jump into number 6 of the top 10 spooky black houseplants. Number 6 is Cynocrassula, and this plant, it's a dark grayish green succulent. And it's kind of fuzzy. It's very cute. It's also known as the hedgehog succulent. So if that paints a picture in your mind for how cute it is, it's just this fuzzy little grayish green succulent. I was surprised as I was researching how many of these plants were very dark succulents. I don't think I was just really expecting that. Moving on to number 7, I have the Begonia Jurassic Silver Swirl. This one might be one of my favorites. It was just so pretty. So begonias in general are gorgeous plants, but the Jurassic Silver Swirl, that's a mouthful, it has these really dark purple leaves with a white silver swirl going in the middle of the leaf. And if you know begonias, their leaves kind of, I'm like making the movement with my hand, but you guys obviously can't see me. They kind of just like spiral around just slightly. And so the white silver stripe is coming down the middle, but it's swirling around, and it's just so pretty. It's very striking, very Halloweenish. Again, it was one of my favorites as I was researching for this episode. Number 8 is another begonia. It's Begonia Black Fancy. This one has just very dark and black leaves. There is no swirl on this one, but it is a very dark houseplant. Number 9 is Echeveria Black Prince, another succulent. And this one has very dark purple leaves when it is in full sun, just like the others. And it can even put out ruby red flowers, which that would be such a fun contrast to have these very dark purple black leaves and these ruby red flowers if it's coming out. And if you want a succulent to flower, they do need just a lot of sunshine, to be honest. That's the only time I've gotten my succulents to flower is when they've been getting a lot of full sun. Number 10, like I said, this is not the end. I included a few more, is the Colocasia Black Magic. So this plant, it resembles an alocasia, but the veining doesn't have different colors. It's more of just a single colored leaf. And they are very dark, red/purple, lightweight leaves. Number 11 is the Philodendron Black Cardinal. This philodendron has very dark green, nearly black leaves, and being a philodendron, it's going to be fairly easy to handle, which is what I am always down for. This one I think I would have the confidence to handle. And as I'm kind of just like going through these plants, I'm wondering, why are they black? Like, what is the evolutionary benefit for them to have developed to be so dark? Or is this just a case of human manipulation because, it looks cool and it's desirable? I should have looked into that. I think some of these are naturally occurring, but a lot of them, like the begonias, I know that those are super popular. Those can be popular ornamentals, and I'm sure that they were developed to have those colors because people want them in their yards. Perhaps another episode, I'll have to dive into that. All right, let's move on. We are on number 12, which is Ficus elastica, which is the rubber tree, but this is Ficus elastica burgundy. So it's the classic rubber tree with those large elliptic leaves, but they are very dark dark green burgundy. And again, this is another one. It's like a no fuss plant. You can't go wrong with this. If you want a black plant to have in your house for Halloween vibes while also being super easy to care for, I would suggest Ficus elastica burgundy, the philodendron black cardinal, or the raven ZZ plant. Those would be my top 3. Number 13 is a Scindapsus trubii dark. And this has these dark green leaves. They get darker as they mature and grow. So this one's kind of different because they start out like a dark green, but as they hang down, you can see them get darker and darker. So it is a vining plant. You can either train it to climb or you can just have it hang there, but kind of a unique coloring of a plant to kind of change as it matures. Next, we have Syngonium red arrow. This plant has these really beautiful heart-shaped leaves with dark green / black tops. So a really dark top side of the leaf. And then underneath, they are red. It's just this really beautiful contrasting color combination. I really like this one too. It's very striking. And this plant is another vine, so you can either have it hang down or train it up a wall or a trellis, whatever you prefer. Next, number 15. This one's kind of different, but I thought it was really fun. Add some texture to your houseplants, and it is black mondo grass or Ophiopogon japonicus. So this plant is often grown as a companion plant to bonsais, and it is also used in landscaping, but I saw that you can also grow it as an indoor plant if you wish. So it is this really black / deep purple grass. It needs a fair amount of light because, like I mentioned, it's a landscaping plant. If you have an area with full sun or part sun, that would be perfect for the black mondo grass. And lastly, number 16, I went 6 over. Can you blame me? Black plants are just kind of fun because they're not super common, and I just feel like I couldn't leave very many of them out. I left out some that I thought were duds. I feel like all of these were real winners. So lastly, we have the Selenostemen black prince, and this is a very dark purple coleus plant with these toothed leaves, so they kind of zigzag in and out. And coleus plants, they just come in such fun colors. It's a really common landscaping plant, but you can grow them inside. Again, part sun to full sun is perfect for them indoors. And I just found the black prince to be so beautiful and stunning with the dark purple and those jagged edges. But there are some other varieties that are dark and have fun kind of Halloween colors. So there's Black Dragon, which has deep red / black. There's the Rediculus, not ridiculous, is very red, as you can imagine. And then there is Color Blaze Wicked Witch, which is a dark purple coleus with green toothed edges. This was another one I thought was so pretty. And then there's Vino, which is a coleus with a dark burgundy wine color to its leaves. All of them were so fun. I guess you could say I went way over 16 plants if you included those one by one. But coleus just in general have such fun colors to them. All right, and with that is my top 10 / really 16, probably more like 20 black spooky plants. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and I hope to have you here in 2 weeks for a brand new episode of the Plant School Podcast. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to the Plant School Podcast. I hope that you will join me for our next episode. And if you would like to support this podcast and keep it going, there's a link down in the show notes of this episode where you can donate to this podcast, and I really appreciate all that help. Or you can go to my merch store, which is also linked in the notes of this episode, and you can find some really cool plant-related shirts and stickers. And if you want to support the podcast but spend no money, feel free to share it with a friend, leave a review. All these things greatly help me out and allow me to keep doing this. Again, thank you so much for listening and for being here at the Plant School Podcast.